Please guide us through what kind of tests are done to a patient when they come in for refractive surgery. How long is the process? And is everybody fit for this or only some
So
percentage?
I think that's a great point because, like you said, how do you know whether that eye is a good candidate
Yes.
for a particular surgery? So a lot of tests are done. When I say lot, it still means that a lot time is not taken. But today we are equipped with machines. With one machine can look at 3 different perspectives of an eye. But primarily we want to look at the cornea, where we are going to work on if we do lasers. And then we need to look slightly inside the eye if you're going to consider a few other options like a lens-based one. So we look at the corneal thickness, we look whether is it a smooth eye, is it a dry eye, because that can have implications post-surgery. We want to make sure that post-surgery, the patient is also going to sustain that vision for a long time. So it's not just an immediate effect that you need to give. So obviously, because we've all been trained in that department, we've known over the years which eye to operate on. I think that is the most important decision to take. Doing the surgery, the skill itself can always be learnt over time. But if you've not done the training for understanding whether an eye is a good candidate or not, that's not the greatest learning that you've got.
Also, where to say no.
Yes, when to
So-
say no, not just do it because a patient or relative
The
or
most
friend
important
has
part
gotten
is
it
not
done.
finding the right patient, is by rejecting the correct patient.
Yes.
Yeah,
And we've
yeah.
had to do that to several, and they have been very unhappy. And I've had to say, sorry, but I am not going to do anything for you. But then that's something you have to do.
But Tanvi, don't you find that to be the toughest
Yes,
decision?
yes.
And also taking the maximum time to convince a person not to undergo a
Yes,
surgery.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And somehow that's something that no one teaches you in training. You know, you get out there and you see that dejected face of the
Yeah.
patient and you're wondering, I'm really sorry, I want to, but I really can't. And my conscience doesn't allow me to. And it's in your interest.
Yes,
it's
it's
very
also
hard
not
to,
in our interest.
It's not in our interest. It's very hard to explain that this
Yes.
is not in, it's
But
not in
at
your
the same time
interest.
today, don't you think, ma'am, there are so many other options that these subset of patients are becoming less?
Absolutely.
That
Yes.
there
There
are
are lens-
other options,
Yes.
like in
Definitely.
refractive surgery, where you can offer them something.
Definitely.
Very few patients rarely can be the kind of
That's
ones
why
who
I
can't
would
go
actually
for surgery.
suggest, Raghav, that a person should go to a center which offers all different types of surgery
Yeah.
and not just one. Because if you have only one option, then you try to apply that option. If it doesn't work, then you say that you are not fit for a refractive surgery, which is not true. So just don't go by one person's opinion about getting rejected.
Yeah.
You
I
should always
think
consult
consult
another
somebody
center which
who
has
could be doing all
the bigger
different
numbers.
types of surgery, and so that they can guide you better.
Yeah.
So what kind of patients would you want to outrightly reject that definitely nothing can be done for this eye? As like you said, the number
Yeah.
of patients have decreased.
Yeah.
But are there any cases where you are a bit more wary, a bit more, apprehensive in touching this patient?
It really depends because now there are so many ways of, if not corneal based procedures, you can always do a lens based procedure.
Okay.
If earlier it was a thing, oh, I'm touching 40, what should I do? But now refractive lens exchange is a thing and it's very safe also. So it's not something that you would absolutely not. In all these years, I'd say there's been one patient where I was so upset because she's a friend of mine from school. She came in, she was a very high refractive error, I think the tune of -18 or -19, something about that. So any corneal procedure was out. Then we said, okay, let's plan something like an ICL. But as luck would have it, her anterior chamber depth was, she was not fit for that either, it was shallow. And we said, okay, how about we, discuss something on a lenticular based procedure. And then turns out that she had a poor endothelium and she had advanced fuchs. So we were like, just please. And she had come desperate. She said, I have a toddler and my child,
Yes,
keeps pulling my glasses off. I can't wear contact lenses. Please help me. That's the only time where I was so upset.
But Shreya,
But
aren't you
we
happy
just-
that today we can avoid mistakes
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could have been
Yes.
very easily
Yes.
made
Very
when we
easily.
when we
Yeah.
didn't have these technology
Absolutely.
Tests
and
to
the
do, yeah.
tests to determine these parameters.
Absolutely.
So today it is very important that we look at the eye very, very,
Very carefully.
thoroughly, carefully, and not just go for surgery
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
sake of going for surgery.
Absolutely.
A lot of patients complain that they need to wait for a bit, and
Yes.
like get those tests done, but they don't understand why that's done. There is a reason, like she said. We're trying to rule out every single thing that can go wrong, and then we take the decision. It's not as simple as just looking at a number and saying, "Come, let's get your LASIK or whatever done."
Very often we get asked on phone, my daughter has such and such power, and she's 18. Can she get this done? And it's not a simple
Answer
question,
to, give.
and there is no answer to it. You
Absolutely.
have to go and show to an ophthalmologist who is doing refractive surgery
Yes.
to be able to get a correct answer, and not just from anybody over a phone.